At exactly 0314 hours on the 28th of May, 2026, the false calm over the Strait of Hormuz was shattered by a deadly trap that had been 6 weeks in the making. The Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, USS Thomas Hudner, hull number DDG-116, was escorting the Liberian-flagged supertanker Aegean Crescent westbound through the 1-mile-wide choke point at 14 knots, threading the inbound traffic separation lane between Larak Island and the Omani Peninsula. Her SPY-1D phased array radar was painting a clean sky. Then, in the span of 7 seconds, 42 contacts bloomed across the spy's E-band sweep, low and fast, hugging the deck off Kesham Island. The Combat Information Center went red. The voice on the 1MC was flat and lethal. Vampire, 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 multiple inbounds bearing 045, range 11, altitude 50 feet, classified Shahed 136. The AEGIS Baseline 9 combat system had less than 90 seconds to solve a problem the Pentagon had wargamed 1,000 times and prayed it would never see. The drone wave was not the attack. The drone wave was the masking layer. Beneath that thermal noise, 8 Iranian IRGC Navy Sayad-class fast inshore attack craft, each loaded with twin Noor anti-ship cruise missiles derived from the Chinese Sea. 802 were already past the Tumb Islands and accelerating to 52 knots toward the Hudner's port quarter. The trap had teeth, the trap had jaws, and the jaws were closing. The first Shahed 136 punched into the Hudner's starboard CIWS engagement zone at 0314 plus 38 seconds. The Phalanx Block 1B opened up with that unmistakable buzzsaw roar. 4,500 rounds per minute of 20-millimeter tungsten penetrators. And the drone disintegrated 40 meters off the beam in a flowering orange bloom. 2 more behind it, then 4, then 9. The CIWS slewed, hammered, slewed again. The forward Mark 41 vertical launch system spat ESSM Block 2 interceptors in pairs, each one a 280-pound kinetic kill vehicle accelerating to Mach 4, and the night sky over the strait turned into a moving constellation of white-hot fragments. But at 0315 plus 12 seconds, the SLQ 32V6 electronic warfare suite caught the signature that froze the captain's blood. A Bavar-373 long-range SAM battery on Kesham Island had just powered up its Mirage 4 engagement radar X-band, locking onto the Hudner's embarked MH-60R Seahawk helicopter, call sign Magnum 21, which was airborne 40 feet over the wave tops conducting surface search. Magnum 21 had 6 seconds. The Bavar-373 sent 2 Sayad 4B interceptors off the rails before the helicopter's pilot, Lieutenant Commander Voss, could complete his left brake. The first Sayad detonated in a proximity burst that sheared off the Seahawk's tail rotor and sent it into the black water at 165 knots. The second slammed the empty air where the helicopter had been a heartbeat earlier. No transponder, no mayday. Just a brief orange flare on the SPY, 1D return, and then nothing. At the same time, sonar operator Petty Officer Ramirez heard a sound that should not have existed, a transient, hull-popping signature, the unmistakable acoustic fingerprint of a Kilo-class Project 877 submarine, flooding her torpedo tubes. Iranian, Russian-built, supposedly in dry dock at Bandar Abbas. And now, somewhere inside the Hudner's 2,000-yard close-aboard envelope, the captain, Commander Elena Marchetti, picked up the secure handset and uttered 4 words that would route through CENTCOM, sock scent, the White House Situation Room, and the tank inside the Pentagon in under 11 seconds. Hostile action, weapons free. What the Iranians did not know was that the Hudner was not alone in the strait. 42 nautical miles to the south, in the Gulf of Oman, the Nimitz-class supercarrier USS Dwight D. Eisenhower was steaming a racetrack pattern with her full carrier Air Wing 7 aloft. 2E, 2D advanced Hawkeyes had been tracking every Shahed launch from a covert Iranian dispersed site near Minab for the last 19 minutes. For F, A, 18E Super Hornets were already an afterburner, vectored north by an E-3G Sentry orbiting over Saudi airspace, each Hornet carrying a mixed loadout of AIM, 9X Block 2 Sidewinders, and AGM-154C JSO glide bombs. Below the surface, the Virginia-class fast attack submarine USS Iowa SSN 797 was running silent at 380 feet beneath the Hudner's wake, her BQQ-10 sonar suite already classifying the Kilo as Master 1. The Iowa's captain had been holding the firing solution for 40 minutes. He was waiting for one word. He had just received it. What would you do in Commander Marchetti's chair? 20 Shahed drones inbound, a SAM battery on Iranian soil that just killed your aircrew, a Kilo inside torpedo range, and a tanker carrying 2 million barrels of crude 600 yards off your starboard beam? Comment 1 if you fire. Comment 2 if you wait. At 0316 plus 0 to 9, the Shahed fast attack craft revealed themselves. All 8 of them lit off their NOR anti-ship missile guidance radars simultaneously, the X-band emissions splattering across the Hudner's SLQ, 3-2 like a fistful of broken glass. 8 NORs went into the air in a ragged ripple, contrails climbing, then diving to sea skimming altitude, terminal velocity Mach 0.9, warhead 165 kilograms of high explosive penetrator. The Hudner's AEGIS solved the engagement in 1.4 seconds and walked SM-2 Block 3 IC interceptors out the VLS cells in a beautiful, terrible cadence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a 9th for insurance. 7 NORs burned in midair. 1 got through the outer ring and ate a full burst from the aft phalanx at 480 yards, detonating in a sheet of orange that washed across the Hudner's port quarter and stripped the paint from a CIWS barrel that was still spinning. The 8th slammed into the Aegean Crescent's empty number 3 cargo tank, and the tanker shuddered but did not break. The inert gas atmosphere inside the tank, smothering the warhead's incendiary effect. A small mercy in a night that had run out of them. Then it was the Iowa's turn. At 0317 plus 24 Mark 48 ADCAP heavyweight torpedoes left the Virginia's tubes in a fan pattern, each one a 3,500-pound wire-guided assassin running at 55 knots toward the Kilo's last bearing. The Iranian sub, classified as Tarek, never made it to launch depth. The first Mark 48 found her port screw at 0319 plus 0 to 6, and the entire stern of the boat opened like a tin can under a sledgehammer. The second confirmed the kill. The other 2 were vectored toward 2 more Shahed boats trying to disengage at flank speed, and the war game truth that submariners whisper about in dark bars came true that night. A Mark 48 against a 200-ton fast attack craft is not a fair fight. It is an erasure. Meanwhile, the 4F A-18E Super Hornets, call signs Hammer 21 through 24, dropped to 200 feet over the water and entered the Bavar-373's engagement envelope at Mach 1.1, popping AGM 88G AARGM-ER anti-radiation missiles off their wing pylons. The Bavar's Mirage 4 radar, blinded by its own emissions, had nowhere to hide. 3 of the 4 AARGMs found the radar van. The 4th found the launcher. The SAM battery on Keshem Island ceased to exist in a series of secondary explosions visible from the bridge of every ship in the strait. But the climax of the night had not yet come. At 0322, the Aegean Crescent's master called the Hudner on Channel 16, voice cracking, accent Greek, American warship. American warship. We have armed men on deck. They came from a launch. They are in the Citadel. We are 9, please. The transmission cut. The Iranians had played a move no one expected. While the drone swarm and the missile salvo had pinned the Hudner, a single Sayad boat had run the dark side of the tanker's hull and put a 6-man IRGC naval commando element Sepa Takavar onto the Aegean Crescent's stern via grappling hook and ladder. Their mission: seize the bridge, sail the tanker into Iranian territorial waters, and present the world the next morning with a 330-meter floating hostage and 2 million barrels of leverage. Tehran had read the Vienna Convention. Tehran had read the Geneva Convention. Tehran had also read that no American president in the modern era had ever ordered a kinetic strike on a hijacked supertanker full of crude in the world's most sensitive choke point. They believed Washington would blink. They were wrong by exactly 4 minutes, 2,800 miles to the southwest, on the deck of the USS Lewis B. Puller, an expeditionary sea base loitering in the Gulf of Aden, 2 MH-60M Blackhawks of the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, the Night Stalkers, were already turning. Aboard were 16 operators from a SEAL Team 6 Maritime Intercept element, fully kitted, NODs down, suppressed HK-416S at the high ready. They had been on a 15-minute alert posture since the moment the first Shahed left its rail. The Blackhawks burned north at 160 knots, refueling once in midair off an MC-130J Commando 2 at 12,000 feet. And at 0358, they crossed the Hudner's mast and disappeared into the dark over the Aegean Crescent's stern. 12 operators fast-roped onto the helo deck in the time it takes to read this sentence. 4 more dropped onto the bow from the second bird. The fight inside the tanker's superstructure lasted 3 minutes and 17 seconds. The IRGC commandos, expecting a slow Greek crew, met instead the most experienced direct action unit on the planet. 6 down, no American casualties, all 9 merchant mariners recovered alive from the Citadel. By 0405, the Aegean Crescent was answering her own helm again. The Hudner's CIWS barrels were cooling, and a thin gray dawn was breaking over the Musandam Peninsula. But the night was not a victory, it was a warning. Brent crude opened in Singapore at $147 a barrel. The IRGC, in a televised statement from a bunker outside Tehran, claimed the strike on the U.S. base in Kuwait, 11 Americans wounded, as righteous retaliation. 3 Iranian frigates were now steaming at flank from Jask. A Chinese Type 055 destroyer, the Lhasa, requested transit permission through the strait at 0612 and did not wait for the answer. The Russian intelligence ship Ivan Kurs was loitering in the Gulf of Oman with every antenna it owned aimed at the Eisenhower's task force. The strait had not closed. The strait had become a tripwire, one that any of 5 nuclear-armed states could trip in the next news cycle. The lesson of the 28th of May, 2026, is the lesson the 21st century keeps refusing to learn. In a world of hypersonic missiles, drone swarms, and 1 mile-wide choke points carrying a fifth of the planet's oil. The next world war will not begin with a declaration. It will begin with a 14-minute exchange in a body of water most people cannot find on a map. The American sailors who fought through those 14 minutes did their job with surgical precision. The question is whether the politicians above them will be half as disciplined. Stay sharp, stay informed, because in the Strait, the next 0314 hours is always one Shahed away.